It did that last time. Hello, I'm Evac. We expected a bit longer before that introduction. Speaking of introductions, we don't need to introduce these teams. You know who these guys are. You might not know who Stickler is. He's been around a couple of times, but I've not casted with him before. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Stickler? Who is Stickler?
All right. Well, I mainly have come out of North America, sort of on a bit of a world tour here at this point, and I had to stop by for a major playday to get my first cast in with you, E-Box. Should it be a fun one tonight? The rematch, I mean, it's been a pretty big anticipated game. After seeing a bit of a struggle from both of these two teams in their opening matches last Saturday even, I am curious how things are going to change today. Are they going to have an improvement in performance, or are we going to be heading back to overtime again?
It wasn't incredibly disappointing by any means for either of them. They both took it to overtime. Jaeger's losing out against Cyberground Academy. No easy feat to take them that far anyway, so pretty good job. And Lions Creed, they had a really good start against AYB and then a bit of a kind of a comeback. Oh no, was it AYB? It was AYB. I'm getting myself confused. But there we go. I mean, Lions Creed, they could do pretty well today. Like, if they win, they will move up to second, guaranteed, maybe even first. And Jaeger's, a win would only really take them around fourth, second, depending on round differential and all the above, you know, and how they do against the other teams later in the season. So this game is quite important, especially for Jaegers, if they want to compete for those top spots, to really make sure they are doing it now. And here we are, most interestingly, on Villa. I had a bit of a debate with myself as to what we were going to see today. Thankfully, in the repeat, this is the repeat of the last final, by the way, in ECS, if you're new here. Lions Creed won that out very narrowly. They went across pretty much all the maps, but Jaeger's, the one map that they did, the two maps they did take were Cafe and Villa. Cafe auto-banned by Lions Creed because they played it last time. Jaeger's now, we're on Villa. This might favor them ever so slightly.
We'll have to see how that plays in. I'm glad to be... I'm glad to be on Villa instead of the clubhouse game that we got last week, because the attacks there, they really were not a sight for good eyes. Really struggled. The way that things went down there, I believe it was Lions Creed on that club game, they just rushed every round. It was like, it's not really a rushing map, and so if you are rushing every single round, that kind of tells you something. Maybe a clubhouse just not a terribly good map for them. Hoping the Villa can provide a little bit more of an even playing ground. Moving into the operator veto, so you've already got Thatcher and Mon. Just a little bit unusual. Maybe Ebok, you have a little bit of insight into that.
No, but I'd usually have it penned down as a contenders ban. Contenders love banning Monty or playing Monty conversely quite often. Not much of a feature in this division. I don't know if that's some kind of call towards the Clash, as both these teams have been debating their kind of commitment to the Clash as an operator. Heavy has been playing Clash loads in other divisions and across things. I've just seen him talk about that so much. Jaegers have promised at some point in this season they will play the Clash. I'm expecting it from Paws at some point, maybe even today. Right now, they're going to start off in Dining Room and Kitchen, and they've got a pretty standard lineup here. My eye mostly on that Oryx and how Shift, as the new IGL brought in, can really utilize that operator.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
On the flank and try to distract Lions Creed once things eventually boil down. If there is kind of like a really concerted focus, if Lions Creed are getting sort of hot and heavy, Heavy is focusing on the vertical play, and then all of a sudden you've got Shift coming out of nowhere. Nobody likes to be kind of distracted by an Oryx, and if Lions Creed aren't able to get proper flank drones in place, if their air jabs are lacking, especially if we see Verns get cut down early on the entry, that could be a real nightmare. You've got to have that Nomad hanging around when Shift is trying to play on the roam like this. Usually, though, where I would expect the Oryx is more for like an Aviator roam, given the fact that you can jump up into the Master Hatch and kind of retake there with such an easy route. A lot of the roams that we see distract from the execute have to come down here. Already Pause is giving us something to look at, though.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to a Jaeger in this matchup jumping out over by Master. Last time I can recall in the final, everyone remembers it's Steno jumping out on the Jaeger in front of the entire Jaeger's team. Best moment of the season, hands down. Probably the best moment ECS might see for quite some time. Pause, netting nothing on that particular jump out, and I'm really interested to see what Shift can do here. Not necessarily man you expect to be on that Oryx role, so I'm interested to see what he can pull out. Right now, first minute of play almost burned, and we see a very direct Lion's Creed move coming out right now, very focused towards this laundry area.
It seems like kind of like a horizontal pressure coming in, though usually this would look more like a library and living room take if you're not going to play the vertical, instead try to contest and push in simply bare bones towards the objective. Steno's got a plan in mind, a barricade to obscure his position as now the window rips open, Heavy at the ready to try to come on in for what seems like Lion's Creed looking to seize control of the kitchen. In the meanwhile, though, they're going to have no luck over on the farther front as they've already lost Suspended and Verns, as I talked about that Nomad going down and probably not having the most opportunity to put her air jabs into use.
They seemed poised for almost a rush into the site to catch them off if there's roamers around and they're not in the right position to counter it. But when 2 die and a third on top of that, thanks to the C4 from Tazzy, you're in a poor position. Make that 4 kills coming out and only 1 remaining. It's Steno. He's a magic man, but he's got to pull out something miraculous here to pull it back. He's managed 2. 3 left lying in wait, and he can't do it. The RG-15 not enough for the man, and Jaeger seal the first round. I'm not quite sure what to make of that one overall, though.
Yeah, that was a really unusual way to attack kitchen and dining. I almost think that maybe Lion's Creed were not really prepared to execute on the tertiary objective rather than Aviator, which would usually come as that first step in the rotation. Maybe Jaeger's kind of just picking into that idea there, but Lion's Creed, that was so weird. I don't think I've ever seen such a take to come in from laundry and then just all of a sudden members of your team just get completely foiled. There was like this weird late rotation to try to come in upstairs, and it was fairly dislodged, fairly disjointed for Lion's Creed, and Jaeger's picked it apart very cleanly.
Yeah, maybe. I'm interested to see what they do here on Aviator as well, but I don't know what Lion's Creed are up to there right now. We'll just wait and see. I mean, Steno probably is the man. In the last game, Steno got himself 17 kills last time out. 17-12 was his record against AYB on Cafe. Fantastic man. We know him well here. We know him well pretty much everywhere. He's an absolute menace. And if he can keep that up today, if the rest of his team maybe just pick up a kill or 2, they can be in a much better position. My attention today is going to be somewhat focused on Shift, as on the last round, didn't get too much action. He came back and got a kill, T5. Now that he's on the muter role, I'd expect a bit more. I want to see how he fits within this team as the new man. I think he got 9 kills in the first game. 9-10 was his record, and he did some pretty solid plays, so I'm expecting good things of the man.
We've got a developed master bedroom presence, bit of a rotate to be made, and Demantis looking to play aggressive, waiting for the repel, seeing if he can find a hook to guarantee himself an early kill, but nobody coming at this. Lion's Creed not attempting, and it'd be a master bedroom overtake. Direct pressure below, looking to seize control, maybe think about pulling the vertical game, putting some of Suspended's breaching rounds and Steno's lifelines to use. However, Jaeger do have a counter for this. They're spread across the map, fairly consistent. You've got men kind of lurking nearby at the top of the staircase, and eventually I think the call will be made for Jaegers to retreat back and try to put your focus a little bit more towards the main contention area. The Lion's Creed opened things up in a bit better fashion than what we had in the first round, as Steno will find Shift, and now Demantis forced out of the living room as he gets peppered by a ton of bullets coming through. Lion's Creed not looking to make any mistakes, but here goes Pause as he'll slowly inch his way, eager down to the bottom of the stairs, but running back before he overcommits.
Yeah, Thankfully, Demantas did get away with his life, and he can be crucial back on the site potentially later, or maybe for another flank late on if they so need it. Almost half the round gone here. Lions Creed, they have that one man to their advantage. Yes, Demantas is nice and tight. He might be able to use that C4. We've got one in the hands of Jewis as well to try and deny remotely if it comes to it. Still a tough execute, even with a man advantage here. So Lions Creed have a mountain to climb. They got these stairs to climb there in particular. They're trying to push Paws away. Here comes the first man. Can Paws deal with him? The C4 actually takes out Seno. Two more men coming up the stairs. Paws. Oh, he's taken down by Verns. A lovely shot with the AK-74.
Good trade to secure control of the main stairs. Now Lions Creed thinking about a push in from Study, but they've got Uhis to contest with just on the opposite side of the door. Tazzy will secure a headshot, but Heavy goes for the wide swing, and the L85 doesn't fail him there. Man disadvantage, but Jaeger's trying to pull it back. Trigger discipline. Demantis will close the distance here at the doorway as Heavy and Burns have got quite a task to move forward, and the Malusi is not making that any easier. Collecting a three-piece, looking to see if maybe she can get the fourth if Heavy exposes himself here. The utility quite low for the sledge. He's got the hammer, but that's not really going to make the difference. You're going to have to charge through into the objective and take two heads-up duels. Finds the Echo. Prone on the floor of the hunting vault. He'll go behind the bar. Maybe bait out the plan. Try to force Jaegers to make this move as they're currently isolated, and the support really starting to come together as they close the distance. 15 seconds to go. Heavy's going to choose an off angle, but they're not giving him the fight. They know they're on low HP, and all they have to do is play this passive as he inches his way forward. He walks right into a great crossfire.
Demantas, what a round from the man. He's almost equaled his tally from the last game, only getting 6 kills. You'd expect a lot more than that for Demantas in general. And right here, that is a fantastic example of how strong that man can be. Give him an inch and he will take a mile. Lions Creed, fantastic play throughout the round, but Jaegers almost rescued there by a crucial double, and I think it was a triple in total from Demantas in the end there. And we head over to Trophy and Statuary with 2 rounds the advantage of Jaegers. A fantastic start to this map. Exactly what they needed on the defense.
Lions Creed looked a lot better in that second attack. Obviously wasn't enough to open up the scoreboard for them and put us back at equal, but it wasn't kind of the puzzling showing that we had earlier on Dining, where it looked like the identity was absent there. Lions Creed will get another look at what the top floor looks like, though. However, heading over now into the distance as we show Trophy and Statue. No major changes so far. Jaeger's going to stick to pretty typical Villa lineup, though the Pulse is one that I would say a little bit unusual. Maybe Demantas thinking about playing below. I can't really suss this out. You've got Pulse. Nitro's always helpful. If Lions Creed are kind of lingering around, sort of loitering in the master bedroom, that could become more of a problem developing into the late round, especially with how things look in the first. Lions Creed kind of just sat around, standing, waiting for something to happen, and then Jaegers made the first move, and that was enough to push things out of the way.
I think loitering's a pretty key word, Stickler, to start things off, because Lions Creed have been a tiny bit bimbly, standing outside, kind of waiting for a move, standing on the study stairs, a bit scared to go up, and then taken out by a C4. That sort of play, it's not the sort of thing you expect from Lions Creed here. This is a bit more like it. Steno holding a little pixel angle through a single bullet on a window, potentially to catch off any roaming player down below. But there isn't really one. The only one I can see right now, Demantas, with that scanner yet again. We saw it it was quite useful on Dining, certainly. Here you don't expect it necessarily as much, but here he's going to use it to give 3 distinct calls over directly above inside of Study.
Identified the main brood of the Lions Creed forces. Nitro goes up, suspended, goes out, well placed there by Demantis and Lions Creed, suddenly aware that the threat of the defense on this map is also constituted by the FBI operator waiting below. Sit still, go prone, and sit on a soft floor, and things might not exactly go your way. A rough start for Suspended, losing one of those key entries. Your spear point blunted, and now Steno having to step up. A player quite capable of doing so, but without that signature entry duo, Lions Creed going to have to attack this a little bit more liberally.
Surprisingly poor start from Suspended. I'm sure he'll pick it up throughout the game. He's a man who's been ever reliable, especially as of late. His plays in the final were fantastic. A great C4 attempt by Duis, but it does not quite connect onto encryptions. It deals a lot of damage, but he's still walking, that ace, walking towards the site. A minute 15 left for this execute. Jaeger's in a very strong position. The utility, those banshees and smoke canisters as well, are going to prove so crucial. With Demantas underneath, they just have to win these fights. They'll have the intel. They'll be ready for the moves through these single furrowed doorways. But can they win the fights is the most important point here.
Well, that's a big one to take away. You've lost your smokes, and Steno, he's eager to seize upon that opportunity, as now he'll work his way through inside of Trophy. Pause on the opposite end, but taking a hellfire, a bullet to Steno. He'll thread the needle in a big way for his team. Another one just waiting on the opposite end of the reinforcement. Intel is there, and Lions Creed suddenly pulling this one backwards, but Verns gets cut down as it's Demantis to come through on the flank. Gonna try to move the case down, put it on the floor as the pole still waits within statue, but he's shut down. Heavy, eager as ever, and the SMG-11 is gonna pay off as Lions Creed recover from a difficult start to get themselves a well-needed attack win.
Oh, the elephant in the room, the big player we forgot to mention so far. It's Hebi, the MVP from the final, steps up with a very important couple of kills. Steno as well. Jaegers were in a great position. As I was pressing just before that bit of action there, they just need to win those fights. They knew where they were coming from pretty much through these doorways, but just losing one after another, maybe not paying too much attention directly to stopping the entries, and it really suffered there. No smoke canisters coming across, pushing them out of position, making them feel uncomfortable, and both C4s used already, unfortunately, for Jaegers. They head for a reattempt of Trophy and Statuary. Lions Creed, though, in a much better position now that they've started to get wins on the board.
Seems like they're starting to settle in just a little bit better, getting familiar with how they want to play against Jaegers, and the decision is made to take Suspended away from that second fiddle entry, and now put him on the role that Verns had just been playing on the Nomad. I didn't notice Verns kind of had a bit of a struggle. It seems like Lions Creed, in the way that they have been moving around the villa, aren't terribly fluid, and that can become a bit of a problem. You have got to constantly stay in motion, otherwise you risk having a player like Demantas play on the pulse and blow you sky high. He'll step away from the cardiac sensor. No Nitro in this round, but you still got the threat posed there by Shift and Uhis. Great Frostmat placement, just gonna sit it on the hatch if Lions Creed get a little bit too eager, too happy in the master bedroom. They're gonna land on that welcome mat and perhaps drop down 2 floors.
That's a good spot. That's a very good spot for the player playing. Getting the cheeky high angle on the master bed, looking towards Statuary, can just catch you when you jump off it. We'll see if it does. I mean, Demantas ran the Frost in the final as well against Lions Creed, didn't net anything for it. We've seen very few Frost mats working, especially as of late in ECS. So, I mean, you've got strong weaponry, and it can at least make sure that if it's on an entry, that it's going to be tough for them to shoot it out and not be shot out themselves at the same time. Especially when joined with a shield. There we go. We see it being made quick work of. Easy peasy. Lions Creed being very effective with their drone play and the IQ as well to find these gadgets. They're going to know what they're coming up against.
Not going to fall victim to any of that cheeky welcome app placement. You've got thorough intel being gained here. Nice deployable shield, kind of guarding off towards Pixel, allowing the Melusi to hide behind and deny that first step entry. Tazzy will claim the opener as Hebi, that power player just out of the previous round, will fall as Tazzy gets a second look inside the master bedroom. Meanwhile, though, Demantas, another player who has really started to find his rhythm here on Villa, will also go down, but Suspended in his new position as flank watch will suffer yet another death with little impact as he's had no kills so far. But just heading into round number 4, there's always time for a change. Shift holding quite close, trying to play aggro near the concrete door, hoping that Lions Creed let down on their guard. No! And it'll be Jaeger who finds one, just ratting in the corner. Steno tries to move too quickly, and so will lose out on the opportunity to double up.
Thankfully, the breach is open. I don't know how many jabs Suspended got down. I don't know how how safe he is in this position, potentially, from that flank. 3 angles potentially lined on these players. Verns, he sees the shoulder of Uhis, but doesn't notice, I guess, and Uhis just jumps up, gets 2 kills. Round 1 for Jaegers. It wasn't Uhis, it was the smoke, I believe, stuck inside of Astro. What a lovely double from the mute there. Wow, I mean, both lineups absolutely peppered with quality. I am excited to see Encryptions back in the main lineup today, as he's in for Flown. Not fantastic so far on that supporting role, and it was very hard to do anything there with the fantastic gunplay of US.
Well, that gives me a bit of a curious idea because I distinctly remember Flown's impact as sort of the IGL being something that has helped Lions Creed significantly. Maybe that's the explanation for the dining round that we've been kind of looking for so far.
Yeah, maybe.
They don't have Flown to kind of say, okay, this is what we're doing, so everybody sort of just kind of approaches the map and...
I just love
Guys,
Encryptions. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. He focused. He was a lot more of a team focus in the EEG season 2 back in the day. So that's what 3 seasons ago now. Deary me. Quite a while ago. But he was the one of the, I think it's the highest KD in the entire major division that season. 1.5 throughout the entire league season. It was fantastic. Just some incredible plays. And I'm sad we haven't seen him as much, but here is his big chance on the ace, stepping up in Flown's usual position. What can he do? Well, they've got to try and rescue this all the way back. I mean, Jaegers, can Lions Creed pull it even here? 3-3 at the break would be pretty decent for them on the attack.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Another new face stepping into this composition is Jaegers feel fairly comfortable to play a variety of different operators. Saw the Pulse a little bit, the Frost too, and now UHIS will decide that it's time to bring the Aruni with all of her Surya gates. It's just going to be no fun for Lions Creed if they're going to attempt to come in from that sort of northwards push, secure control of the master bedroom. Last time we went here, Lions Creed had more of a focus on the opposite take to play vertically, come in below, secure control of the main lobby area, and then make sure Jaegers didn't have any cheeky roamers trying to sneak in just at the fringe. Steno will go for a bit of a rat play as he will crouch walk in, coming through the pantry. They do have somebody that could be caught off guard by this. You can see Shift just there, sneaking down inside the basement. Not an area we often expect to find defenders, but
It's a real
maybe the play.
Ash Main in her natural environment, crouch walking through the map, no drone around, not being droned out actively by a teammate, just wandering around, seeing what she can find. She hasn't found this the Jaeger's player, I suppose. Shift on the mute, roaming around downstairs, directly underneath. Still playing it relatively cautious, and with the amount of first floor presence, it's still risky a move up the stairs for Shift. And if he misplays it, could be countered quite easily.
Again, it'll be Pause, waiting at the staircase to try and fend off Lions Creed. The time here could certainly be better. Prone peek. Pause is getting quite aggressive. Demantis will find his impact. Shutting down Steno. No hope for the crouch-walking Ash player. But the trade is in.
There
However,
he is.
Shift in the meanwhile. What? He just pulls away with the headshot. SMG 11 and a no care as he'll creep up the staircase. And Lions Creed now aware that the threat of the Jaegers defense is more than just what lies within the objective as well. 3-on-5, Lions Creed. Let's make a play here to try and focus fire, but the utility burn has been fairly lackluster, so you can see a frag absorbed. Paz will work his way down the stairs in magnificent fashion as he completely destroys Lions Creed's full execute, just up to that fresh face of Encryptions to see if he can pull through, but against 4 Jaegers defenders, this is not a real easy task.
They look in a fantastic position to potentially seal this round. 30 seconds for the one man to beat the 4. You imagine with the utility on board, Jaegers have got this sealed. We'll probably be looking at a 4-1 take. They could even go for the 5-1 potentially, as Encryptions, he's just floundering out there. Pretty much a tactical timeout here for Lions Creed. What can we adjust? They're doing well on a lot of the frags. It's weird to see Suspended doing so poorly on these entries, especially. That's not something we're used to seeing from him. It's the yoke. I was wondering what that blast is. I've got no audio, so I couldn't tell what was happening there. It's a yokai being blasted, C4s being thrown, but in the end, it's the SAS shotgun to finish things off. Jaegers take their 4th round. Lions Creed, what do you do from this position, Stickula?
I don't know. You have to make a change. Something has got to give because Lions Creed do not look in their usual form, and they can't afford a 5-1 loss. immediately to open the first split. That's going to give Jaeger so much room to work with. Jaegers are not really a slow team once we see them get over towards the attack. We'll head to the tertiary objective, the one that we kicked this all off with. The pulse is being taken away, though, as we'll have the Frost come in, and Oryx brought again there by Shift. I don't know what the impacts of the Oryx is really going to look like, because Oryx is a flanking operator. Lion Screed didn't get set up in a structured enough way for there really to be anything that could have been a flank.
Trying to fix the sound momentarily. Yeah, the 5-1 is very, very different. Jaegers to the 4-2. Lions Creed very much more in it. This could be a very impactful round, and what a sight to come back to for an impactful round. The one way at Lions Creed, well, least impactful we've ever seen them at this point. And Demantos, that pick, maybe something to do with that consistent IQ being brought out. But as you mentioned earlier, Suspended switching roles yet again, this time swapping with Verns, that air jab being kind of passed around the team, I suppose. And Suspended, he won't be finding any scanners of the pulse necessarily, but he could find a couple of other gadgets, those ADSs and the mute jammer.
Neither Suspended nor Verns really having much luck so far here on the Italian map, as Suspended's got not. He has 0-5, and Verns has managed to isolate one singular pick. Heavy and Steno having to step up in a way that we know they're capable of. Both are incredibly talented players, but this can't really just be the two-man show for Villa. You have to be able to play dynamically, and what that means is to lean on the rest of your team as all being capable in that fragging department. Upstairs pressure. This time Lion Screed seem to have a much better idea of what needs to be here to constitute a successful tertiary dining attack push. As they've got Heavy in position to look for control of the master bedroom. Suspended going quite aggressive, as he'll seem to be dip and dodge behind defender lines, waiting close around the corner, but it seems we'll have the rotate away. Jaegers will concede control here in the master bedroom area of the top floor, instead to rotate back. But one concern, he still has Demantos. It looks like he's waiting at the top of the landing. Steno will jump in right into that cross. Oh boy, poor Steno. For him to be shut down, that's really not a loss that you can afford. The trade is there at least, and Demantos has had a pretty huge impact, but I don't know, 1-for-1 on the top floor just because there was a frost mat you didn't clear out.
That's the first time I've seen a frost mat work in ECS. I've been waiting for it time after time, and what the perfect player to fall into it. Someone with as high quality skill and game smart as Steno. It's quite funny. Of course, Demantos is watching the angle, so whatever you do, you're pretty much dead in that position, jumping through the window. Exactly what we were talking about before. The other thing we were talking about before was just delaying the time and making sure that Lions Creed can't move on in and execute. They've struggled to do it here in the past, and even in the present here, they don't look fantastic. Thankfully, they do have even man count. They've got lots of roaming players around to worry about, and when they drop into the site, they've got so much utility, 45 seconds to do so.
Time will get lower and lower, and we're closer to finding our answer of, will it be Lions Creed 1-5 at the end of the half, or can they start to pull this one around and get a bit of momentum building? Heavy for the nade play, but the ADS is going to make that a little bit more troublesome. So it seems Lions Creed preparing for a Tetris execute. They're trying to come in out of laundry, seize control of music box, and put a lot of pressure on these on-site Jaegers defenders. Juhas being allowed to stay alive for so long has caused a bit of an issue, as his smoke canisters will fog the vision inside of dining room, and a flurry of kills across the board. But Lions Creed out of that battle will emerge in advantage, as Juhas has got a decision to make. Peek and try to go around, but he gets shut down by Verns. A very important impact frag is Lions Creed. Big round for them to win. It's so crucially needed. We'll see them escape here 2-4 at the end of the half.
As well pointed out by Kizzo, our observer today, you could see from that vertical position just players all over the place, fight after fight after fight, 1 versus 1 all the way through, and Lions Creed just fragged their way through to the advantage, and the smoke stuck behind. Probably made the poor decision of trying to escape. I mean, when you don't know who's got the diffuser, where it is, it does make sense, but in the end, it did cost them 1 round, and it could be a very costly round, keeping Lions Creed only 2 rounds behind, headed towards their defense. This is where the comeback can be mounted from. They've stuck their foot in the proverbial door.
Wow, okay. Well, we've got Few operator plays here. The Warden is seen. Not a 6-pick, so curious that you have the Ying to be brought as well after already knowing that the Warden was going to be introduced here. I have noticed recently Jaeger's form looks like their attacks are defined by a more aggressive style of siege. They don't want to wait and stall around. I noticed on their clubhouse game that I managed to get a cast into, they just would open the breach and fly right in the bomb site, not waiting for anything, not droning, not burning utility, really just try to go in and leverage that surprise factor as much as you can, and the Ying certainly will feed into that.
It's a very different Jaegers to what we saw last season, slightly more ponderous in the past in ECS, certainly, especially in the final, which is quite a slow game in general. Here, looks like both teams going for a bit more aggression in general, and so far not paying off for the attacking side as much. We got to see if Jaegers can buck that trend. They'll have to run into Suspended, which is a smart pick, certainly, like the cap can, with what we're speaking about right now, perfect operator to counter this sort of play.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to hold off and play a little bit more passive if you're aware that the EDD traps are in place and ready to slow you down. Suspended. Always going to be an issue, but Steno will be the first loss here. That's a big win for Jaegers. He'll die, just kind of exposed there at the opening at the concrete door. Kind of weakening Lion's Creed's grip over towards Statue's side. Guard breaching to be used as we'll see the triple wall open, and now Jaegers have got a deeper look, seeing if there's any more Lion's Creed defensemen trying to hold off their take. Suspended is in a bit of an unusual position, waiting and lurking down below. He's got that nitro, could be ever so impactful if he decides that it's time to launch it up above. Maybe try and detonate it onto any of the players that step a little bit too close to the red landing.
Unfortunately, they don't really have the most intel, no bulletproof cameras being opted for, and they don't have the Valkyrie or the Mozzie in play, despite them both being available. They don't really have that. They don't even have any Evil Eye maybe somewhere around, so it's going to be quite blind. But he still manages to get two! Just firing one up towards the very tip of 90 and finds two fantastic kills to bring the advantage all the way back from a disadvantaged position in terms of man count.
That's a big, crucial loss. No more hard breach, so your ability to open the hunting vault wall severely neglected. Uhis for the rotatus Demantis will isolate one. Suspended, too eager there at the study doorway. He'll be felled as Jaegers, despite such a crazy nitro launched by the Capcan, that opening pick on the Steno has allowed them to stay alive in the man count game. 3-on-3 as we get underway. Only 1 minute remaining as the Ying, well, she's no secret any longer. The Warden will rotate back, but he's getting constantly droned out. You have to feel pressured in this scenario. But the Warden being here at the top of the main stairs means that the Ying is not really going to be able to bully her way through. But just as I say that, Demantis from the corner peek. But okay, all right. Heavy just makes it work. And now Uhis has been DBNO'd. It looks like Lion's Creed have been able to find their way back in. Paz is going to have to play aggro, but in the meanwhile, all he'll do is really choke on that toxic canister. Uh-oh. That's not great. Heavy probably should have played closer to home. Oh, encryptions. No. Oh, no. Paz. He knows exactly where to aim now. The intel is given up, and Paz will make it happen. Bad move on both the Malusi and Smoke's part as Jaegers win around. They really had no business doing.
That was so close. I was preparing some sort of heavy-related praise there right at the end, and he throws it away, a bit of over-aggression unnecessarily, and you give any sort of chance to pause today, and he will step up. His impact kills so far this game, he's not had the most, but when the kills he have got have been very, very important. So fantastic to them. They move to the 5th round to 2. What a strong advantage here. Starting things off very strongly on their attack, unlike their counterparts. Aviator in games will be attempted again, the Bandit being swapped for the Capcan. They're not bringing along that Warden. They decide to give up on that. I mean, the thing about the Warden is, as long as, you know, he can counter the Ying, of course. If they know there's a Warden, Ying's got to be ready for that fight as well. Warden doesn't actually have anything that will necessarily advantage him in the fight with the Ying. At the end of the day, it's still just a 1 versus 1, gun versus gun, and he's not got the most fantastic gun. So basically what I'm saying is buff Warden. I guess.
I suppose I could
give him the Alder. Come on.
Give him the Alder. That would be That would be quite a curious change. And our observer
Kizzo's
Kizzo
going,
does not agree with that way of thinking.
Oh.
You just didn't even get a chance to really use the Candelas last round. I don't feel like I even saw one go off, so that really made little difference to Jaegers. Maybe you will see that chance become a little bit more useful for UHIS going into round number 8. An important transitory period. Jaegers have got 5-2 on the doorstep of match point. Their thin lead at the half has been expanded just by an arm's length. So you're going to look to claim another one. Lions Creed really could not afford that loss, and this one, never more so. You got to shut down the momentum, get to 3-5, and begin to work on that progress back towards equal.
Oh, all right. I'm just very surprised by Lions Creed right now. They're losing one too many of these fights. I mean, you look across their KDs in general, a lot of players who you very rarely see negative going negative right now. Of course, they're on the defensive half of Villa, so this is probably the time when stereotypically they'd be favored to step up a bit. And by the end of the game, maybe they'll all be positive, it'll be fine. But right now, they look like they're struggling quite a bit. We're losing out some of these key fights as well, and some of it might come down to the entries as well. I think Jaegers, they're going to be a lot more wary of the Capcan's position this time around. His C4, was that used already, or is it pre-placed?
Hard to really tell.
I didn't see it.
I didn't hear it explode, so
No.
unless there was some rotations being needed, it's probably lying in wait somewhere. We'll have to figure out just exactly where Suspended has
There it
managed
is!
to put it down. Question is answered. Another great Nitro. Suspended having a great bit of luck here early in the game to take out Pause, that power player. He couldn't be stopped in the previous round, but he's put to rest quite early here.
What a great start for Lions Creed. They capitalize upon it. Steno gets a second, a third! A wonderful bit of play from Lions Creed. And now it's all in the hands of Demantas and UHIS. UHIS is all the way on the roof. Demantas is outside the study balcony. But he gets a bit of a free one there. Suspended, giving his life away. And Verns as well! Lions Creed, no! It's just a bit too silly. They pulled it back from the 2 versus 5, all the way to the 2 versus 3. Still a lot to do, but so much easier now.
We all know what the G36 and the T95 are capable of. There could be a big moment for Demantis and UHIS to step up in such an important round. If Jaegers can make this comeback, that would just be a demoralizing one for Lions Creed, disastrous, and the impact would be felt. Gas canister tossed deep. Of course, UHIS to go backwards. Lions Creed really just got to stay at home. Try to linger, maybe play for the Utso, but you can't be peeking there. This has gone from a 5-on-2 where it looked like Jaegers were going to bait outside the building to now a very winnable attack round. UHIS is getting the case down. Oh, he might be able to make it happen. The denial just isn't there. Demantis, no! Lions Creed, what are you doing?
Oh, huge misplays across the board from Lions Creed, throwing effectively away 2 aviator defenses in a row from very strong positions against 2 men both times. Man advantage. It means a lot to get up there, but you've still got to see it through. Lions Creed not looking like the Lions Creed we're used to. Jaegers importantly move on to match point. I was debating earlier, I was writing my notes about what I'm going to say at the start of this game about Jaegers wins or Lions Creed wins, what this could mean for both teams. And I was saying Jaegers win moves them to at least 4th in regulation. But I didn't really mention them. They could go up to 2nd if they get enough rounds in their advantage today. I didn't figure they would, because if you're going to beat Lions Creed, it's always going to be close. But funnily enough, it doesn't seem that close at all, and Jaegers could be barreling towards the top of the table.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Demantis is having quite a game so far. We had some mention earlier that Demantis actually broke Steno's all-time ECS kill record with 23 games in the grand final last season, and he really has shown up for his team, and everyone else is contributing. I have to say, Ebac, I feel like that previous moment, those 2 aviator rounds, that would be a moment where Flown would say, hey guys, we have got the man advantage by a huge mile here, so let's play together. Let's rotate back to the objective and play passive not hunt
10
for
seconds
frags.
remaining.
But because that leadership figure is not there, Lions Creed do not have somebody
5
in their
seconds
ear
to go.
telling them to play it passive, and so it's kind of open season in a way that does not benefit Lions Creed by any saying.
You shouldn't have to be relying on someone to say 5-2 advantage.
Right.
Let's not just run out one by one and die. That's just very, very, I don't know, childish, complacent, whatever it is you can name from Lions Creed. It's not good, certainly, is probably the most important point. 1 round is the difference between them and a very strong defeat here. Jaeger's going for a very south-sided move altogether, it seems, with US on 90 window. He could be contested here by Suspended, the man who is a direct counter in terms of utility.
Locking down that long 90 corridor, making sure that nobody from the Lions Creed defense tries to retake and stall the progress that the Jaegers have made. See them slowly begin to move forward as the LMG there from the Ying rattles off. I'm curious what Paz took all of this early damage from. He has had a bit of a mixed bag, but Steno swings wide, and again, that's an important pick for him to begin with. Demantis will go down, that 15-7 player. And I have a bit of a rivalry going on here. Demantis having a wonderful day, and Steno finding the impact when it's needed.
If I'm not mistaken, the thing wrong with that engagement for Demantis was he had the Gon 6 out. I think he was trying to get rid of some utility.
Ugh.
He fired it and then was taken out before he could switch his weapon. Unfortunately, that's what it seemed like to me. But a big shame to start things off for Jaegers, losing your fragging man right now. But I think more importantly, Paws right now is making those big impacts. He's my focused player right now, doing a fantastic job. And I mean, maybe today is just the battle of the IGLs, like, I guess, with the absence of Flown. Shift obviously doing a very good job in managing these men, because Jaegers look pretty strong right now. They're going to need that sort of motivation in this last minute to make this execute happen. A trade.
Still, though, benefiting Lions Creed. Steno's on a sliver of HP. If Jaegers can hit a few good shots, they could be able to put him down. It seems the execute is on the cards, as Jaegers will expend utility. The very same is sent back right in their face. Heavy, kind of a liberal application of those smoke canisters there to stall the push is Suspended. He's managed to creep up ever so close to the door, but as he wide swings, he gives away any advantage that he might have had. This could be the plant for Shift. He'll begin to get it down. We'll see the aggro push going wide. No Warden glasses to stop this massive play by Uhis. Charging forward. He'll shut down one, but Lions Creed, they managed to pull away, denying the plant, as it's only Tazzy with 20 seconds to make this play happen. He's got the smoke. He's trying to get away as much as he can, but the time is so low here. If Tazzy were to win this, it would be a miracle. Charging forward, he won't even get the first as Encryptions hits him with the pre-fire move, and Lions Creed win around to keep themselves fighting, breathing, and alive here on Villa.
Sneaky snakes all over the map, so many prone players, and US swinging around with the LMG onto 2 players, one standing up right in front, one prone on the floor. Just great awareness and positioning from Lions Creed in the end, and with that one-man advantage, that really seemed to make the big difference there, that first kill. Once Demantas was down, it was pretty much a trade till victory sort of play from Lions Creed, and in the end, pretty solid from them. They are 3 rounds away from bringing it... Sorry. Ugh. I'm choking here. Hopefully, that's not what Jaegers will be doing from this point, as they're sitting on match point. They only need 1 round for the victory. We're going to go to dining, and what an interesting site to take for Lions Creed to take themselves to, as they did such a interestingly... so many weird rounds here already.
Yeah, this has been an unusual sight, to say the least. Kind of the tomfoolery of Villa coming out on this site in particular. Jaegers, it seems like even though they kind of struggled and Steno hit a flurry of good shots in that previous round, Jaegers almost are able to sort of siphon an opening. Every single time you see Suspended, he's playing the Warden, but he gets too eager. He tries to move up and takes 1 step too far. Jaegers shut him down, but Lions Creed come up clutch and they win the round in the 2-on-1, and they do not sell away the man advantage that they held in that situation. Jaegers to see if they can move forward here and still have that bounty of a 7-3 regulation victory. Suspended, he wants to go aggro to make a big play. Be that player to watch for. He'll hop out. Nitro launched. Will it connect? No, as it's actually off target.
Tazzy.
Thought it had been shot midair,
Shot it
but
out.
Tazzy just kind of managed to thread the needle away from it as Lions Creed, sort of the jig is up here.
Yeah, good attempt. Going for the Fabian C4 doesn't work out, unfortunately, for Suspended. God, I feel kind of weirdly old now saying that. That was a while ago. But there you go. Lions Creed, they're in a decent position to try and build back here. They've kept themselves just about in it with the cheeky round here and there, but they've got so many consistent rounds to get now. They've got to win in total 4 in a row, only 3 from this position to bring it back all the way to overtime. Which does mean that they've not managed anything in regulation so far this season.
A big turn of phase. Selmas are going to be stopped dead in their tracks by the Lions Creed jammers as they're going to have to seek about another way to get this open and done with. Suspended, look at that position though. They're working kind of aggressive. And Steno on the rotate. Suspended will isolate too as the kitchen play close at the window will work out in a huge way. But eventually traded down by Pause, who nets him from out on the window. Jaegers have had a bit of a struggle moving in here. Their pace barely.
I was going
2 on the
Suspended.
same
I know
window.
there's 2 on the same window. There were 4 on that window in total. You killed 2 of them, and then 2 more came along afterwards.
Kind of a battle for control of pantry this round.
Look at that bloodbath. A horrible pantry situation. Jaegers, though, they've only lost the 2 men. They traded 1 out. They're in a decent position to try and take this back. They've got 2 of the probably the main impact fragging players of the game so far. Demantas and Pause available, with Tazzy a very solid option. Not available anymore. He's been taken down by Steno. 2 versus 4.
That's not made any easier now as you've lost Demantas and things are in the hands of Pause for the 7-3. A fight that I really didn't think he was going to win, but he'll thread the needle to make it happen as Verns is put down. Jaegers don't have much in the way of vertical play here. Another breaching charge for Pause, but that's about it. As the sledge was not brought in this composition, and so it'll have to be Pause just kind of charging into the objective and playing for eliminations. The case is down in the very same place that it has been pretty much the entire duration of this round outside of the pantry window, in a place that Pause he's not going to be recovering it from anytime soon. Gonna have to play for frags, but he doesn't even make it through the threshold of the door as Steno puts him down. Lions Creed for 2 rounds in a row.
I'm always one to advocate a Ying or any other operator who can help you win fights in late round positions. But right now, it's not really working for Jaegers as an individual pick. We've not seen those Candelas really be of that much use towards anyone. I mean, I guess it's soaking up utility to some degree, but really not the best play from them right now. And US is going to stick with it probably again unless he's 6 picks off. We go back to Aviator. Now, this is probably, I would argue, the best chance for Jaegers here to win this game nice and early if they're not going to have to do it through overtime. Because this site has been great for Lions Creed within the first 2 minutes of the round. And then terrible in the final one. Straight afterwards, completely different story.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of Lions Creed after that 2-minute mark sort of just step off the field and then an entirely different team comes in and somehow gives Jaegers a route back in. The way that Steno has played on Aviator has been fairly well. He's been able to kind of isolate that opening gunfight, which is really important on Aviator. You've got to be able to take out the attackers early on. It feeds into the time waste and can really stall out teams. I wonder if maybe we're going to see Jaegers approach things from the master bedroom side, or the take that we had pretty much in full focus earlier in the game, where it was coming up from the lobby stairs and putting all of your pressure over towards Study. It's been more of sort of this Jaeger split option. Maybe a little bit of pressure coming in from the Study veranda, and a few men try to get control at 90, landing eventually, but Jaegers have had a lot of struggle in that early start. There's been nitros going off, there's been Steno just off the hook, and they've not been able to clamp down on that. Success in the early round could very well mean a Jaegers win at this point.
I mean, a lot of it has been C4 based so far. That 1 pick earlier with Suspended, pre-placed C4, was fantastic over by landing. This time they brought the Valkyrie. The one thing I said they might have been missing for the intel on those sort of plays, They've got this time along, and that will make it even easier to try and pick off an extra man or two if they so wish. And Suspended, indeed, he's sitting underneath. He's waiting to pull that trigger. Don't know if someone else might be watching the cam. He's currently sitting there just staring. And you've got to imagine it's here. And there's no IQ opted for by Jaegers. They're not, I imagine, Droney checking too thoroughly for those black eye cams. Could be caught off here. And here comes the Valkyrie in question.
Suspended is always on his lurk, as he'll work his way around the map and search for an opening. We know that Suspended can really pull a Nitro out of a hat if he needs to make it happen. And the Valkyrie Black Eye Camp is really just going to be that extra cherry on top to allow him to be extra precise. Nitro goes out. Will it detonate? Seems not yet. Suspended going to toss it up and lie in wait to see if Jaegers move into 90 eventually. No pressure really whatsoever at the study staircase for two members of Lions Creed to hold off at. Most of the men coming in from that 90 side. Nitro still below. Jaegers, they've got to be aware of this, but they really don't have anything to know that it would be down there. And so the Nitro's just going to sit until eventually Lions Creed and Suspended get tired of waiting and put it to the test. Suspended doesn't even need the explosive, though. And Steno will go huge as he swings out. Another round where Lions Creed pulled no punches, and Jaegers suffer as a result.
Another two-man against X for Jaegers. How often do they find themselves in this position? Candelas could do a lot here, but it's gonna have to be something crazy unless Lions Creed just decide to throw it away. They were in this position last time, recall. Two of them died, went overly aggressive unnecessarily, 2 free kills, and then they pulled it back somehow from that position. Could still happen. Only 40 seconds for it too, unfortunately, for Jaegers, and they're still nowhere near. Jewis is downstairs looking at the wrong thing, and Shift is just standing outside waiting for maybe someone to pop back across landing. Don't think they go into. It's quite a comfortable position for Lions Creed.
But it doesn't seem like we're going to have that miracle comeback again as the two final frags go through. And Lions Creed, hey, would you look at that? They're able to close out on an aviator round and secure their first flawless here. This is the beginning of the comeback. That's 3 in a row here, Ebac.
It's so comfortable. Like, that's the difference they made. Is that last bit of the round. They do such a good job at the start of Aviator games. This time, all they did, play it simple, finish it off, see the round out, and they do look it's so comfortable. It's like sitting in one of those fancy chairs that like rubs your back and stuff, like one of those vibrating chairs that's at the shop.
Yeah, I mean, Lions Creed have just got to play into their strengths right now, and Jaegers have not been able to clamp down on that. I have to say, Ying is really doing nothing. I don't think I've seen a play made by Jaegers that has been bettered by the Ying, except for one tiny microcosm of the execute. But at that stat, you look at things, but he wasn't to win even then. Lions Creed were still able to shut it down. They didn't even need the warden there. So at what point do you say it's time for you to play something different?
I mean, I said it a while ago. I don't know what quite is going on here necessarily. When you've lost this many rounds quite consecutively, it's a bit strange. I mean, they've lost 3, they lose 1 more, and it's all the way back from a 6-2 domination, pretty much. Jaegers in that position, looking by far the better team. The difference for Lions Creed, they've just stepped up in some of these fights. I mean, Steno for one, Suspended especially as the other, with a lot of impactful kills, especially with those C4s earlier on. He's usually the fragging man. He usually has the most kills for Lions Creed, and now that he's ramping it back up, he's all the way back up to 8. He's looking pretty solid, and it's going to be tough to beat out these guys. The C4s in their hands could also prove crucial. If Jaegers aren't very thorough, they could be caught off.
Gotta be thorough at this point because you've kind of started to feed Seno, and one important thing to notice, Demantis has had a lot of a slowdown. He's not been that same impactful player that we had for the first half of this game that sort of led the charge for Jaegers and put them in such an advantaged position. He's 15-9, kind of just laying the rounds through and then being caught out. Look at this, though. Suspended lingers at the window. This could be something here for Suspended. In the meanwhile, Steno gets caught out and suspended, lingers
There
for
we
too
go.
long. U.S. Oh, he shuts it down. No run out. You're done for.
Oh, I was scared. I was sitting there going, no, US has got the kill on Steno. The call's coming. Here comes the Valkyrie. She jumps out and dies as well. And a very, very crucial double. Again, US, it's not his utility necessarily, but he's doing a great job. He pulls himself back positive, and Jaegers, they'll certainly be in a positive mood. 5 versus 3. Trade your way to victory. Use this information you've got. But no! A C4 denies Tazzy. That man advantage dwindles by the second, and there's a minute and a half left for this execute. What can they do from this position?
Attackers have located a bomb.
A thin one-man lead at the final round of regular time. Demantis going to get some intel. This would be the round for Demantis to really cap it off. His performance has been hit or miss at the beginning. Pause now takes a battle with encryptions, dealing a massive blow to the bandit's health pool, forcing him away as Jaegers remain at full strength. Demantis for the rotate. We're going to send 2 men over towards the master bedroom, try to force in, get that pressure going. Meanwhile, you still got Verns down and out on the flank, but no remaining explosives. Lionsgate are going to have to deny that plant push, either by using the smoke toxic canisters or simply taking those battles. But look at the weapons on behalf of Jaegers. None of these are an easy fight for the defense to take. Shift is going to move in as Uhis will collect his 30s on a killing spree. And now we'll see Paz chip in as well. Just Verns remaining. Shift has managed to get the case onto the floor. It's only Verns left, but he lines up 2. Frag grenade, red indicator there in the middle of Split. This might just have become winnable for Verns. Just so long as Demantis and Uhis play this right, though, but Uhis gets taken out. Could we see the clutch made happen for Verns? Close at the case. He'll go on cams. Gonna try to get any intel. Surely his teammates would be the ones to do this, but Demantis waits, leaping over through the rotate as we'll see the Iana simply not give him the fight, beginning for the defuse. Verns doesn't stick it, but he bails off. Such a crucial moment as the time will elapse 8 seconds. And Demantis to claim that final kill. It's a win for Jaegers. No overtime needed. They'll close things out with a 7-5 on Villa, ending us in regulation.
Verns, toy with my heart, man. Give it a good old go. In the 1 versus 4 post plant, he gets 3, but it's not enough. Demantas, the man who you imagine would seal it, does indeed seal the deal. Jaegers take it probably a bit further than maybe they should have in the end, a 7-5, but they would certainly have taken that at the beginning of the play, Dave. You say you're playing against Lionsgate, you're going to win 7-5 on Villa. They didn't even manage it in the final. They had to go all the way through overtime. It was a whole mess. It was a disaster. But in the end, same result. They win Villa, most importantly for Jaegers. That's going to do a fantastic job for them. I believe they move to either 4th or 3rd in the table right now, which is almost fully taking shape. We just have one more game straight after this to bring you, which is Team Manic up against Footprint Gaming. And that's going to be a really, really interesting one, potentially forming the team at the very top. But we'll get into that once we are back after this very short break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're here for the second game of the evening. Well, still barely the afternoon for me. I'm Sticula. Joining me here is Ebac. We've got a good game. We'll be heading to Coastline. Sure to be a pretty fun one. I'm excited to see the action as it pans out. We got two teams with some really outstanding players.
Yep, Footprint Gaming up against Team Manic. For those who are not familiar, or maybe were tuning in last season, that's the X-Makers roster and the X... Effectively, you could call it the X-PG Tips roster. I'd probably call it the X-Lexaro roster from back in the day, because it's all the boys back in together. We just saw Jaeger's one of their key players last season, Panda. He's transferred back over here. We've got him reunited with Instinct, Fexel, Tex Rolo, and with Nomo as well added to that core. Manic, I think they might be one of the surprise strong teams. They've not had a strong start, though, unfortunately. They did lose the last game, and conversely, the complete opposite, the biggest domination we've seen so far this season was Bulldog up against Footprint on Consulate. That was an absolute slamming, a 7-1, the Noodle getting a clash 1 versus 2, just it was fantastic. What a couple of games. But what might we expect to see here on this particular map, Stickula?
I'm expecting this to just be flat out action. I'm expecting hype, like the type of chaos, really, yeah. Like,
yeah.
even better than some of those aviator rounds that we just got done with earlier on Villa. I'm expecting this one to be really exciting, and I think it's going to have a lot of really important highlight moments. As far as the operator bans, do you have any particular expectations?
I expect to see Capital banned. If Manic really are the ex-Lexaro that I'm saying they are, they will ban Capital. And Blackbeard, most likely, as their second. So that's what I'm expecting from them. I don't know what to expect from Footprint necessarily. We did see them play here last season in Contenders Division. I remember one of the best games in ECS history was them against TLR, the Last Resort, here on Coastline. Last Resort actually took that. Was it 6-all? We didn't have overtime, so it was, I think it was 6-all. It was so close, it was crazy. It was me and Whippet madness. Fantastic play regardless. Footprint will always offer something up, but we were talking before about what the maps might be, and I said, if it's Coastline, like that's what Manic should be going for. And they're thankfully there, and I think that gives them the best chance of winning today. It is 9th versus 5th. Of course, they've not played the same games as everyone else. Footprint win, they go top. Manic lose as well. They are stuck in... They could almost, already this early in the season, be stuck, games and games behind in wins already, which would be a really poor situation to find themselves in.
Yeah, you hate to be kind of just sort of battered each and every week and forced to make that comeback situation later in the season. I have to say, I'm really looking forward to this one. I feel like we're going to be on the edge of our seats near the entire time. Speaking particularly, has there been any big changes? I'm not the most familiar as far as Coastline, just because it's a map I don't always cast, and even more so when you kind of tag on the EU meta that I'm not so familiar with.
I haven't seen Coastline in a little while. I'm trying to think. It's just, chaos is probably the right word. Chaos line, I guess, if you put an H in there and switch the letters around a tiny bit. I thought we were headed on in. I guess we're not. Just wait a moment. There we go. Hey, here we are. Those bans. I don't really know what to expect from Footprint. I guess I don't know what to expect from Manic either, because it's not the Capital that I was expecting. It's the Buck. Now, that is a very interesting one for denying some of this vertical play, and a ban I've actually seen a bit more commonly on Coastline as of late.
Yeah, the Buck and the Skeleton Key can be pretty troublesome, especially when you're talking about attacking onto kitchen and service. You need to play vertical, and the Buck allows you to do that in a really fluid manner. You can instantly swap from your gun. No awkward moments where you're caught, sledgehammer in hand and a defender looking at you up through the floor. It seems that Buck as well kind of elicited a little bit of a reaction on behalf of the opposite squad. They're not the most happy to have that one be taken off. We've got Thatcher, which... Thatcher on Coastline is kind of an unusual operator ban. Usually for some of the other maps, Villa, we're talking Clubhouse, Cafe Oregon, Thatcher is par for the course, almost always removed, but for Coach, you really don't need Thatcher as much just because hard breach is not always a problem, though I suppose the Thatcher could be used for removing Malusi Banshees, but that's such a niche use to ban out the Thatcher. I don't know, maybe we'll have to think about that later in the game once we see what boils down. There's the Echo removed as well. Maybe Valk for this final ban? Nope, instead we'll have the Mira.
Yeah, I think the Thatch ban, I mean, it discourages like quick rushing play, I suppose. It doesn't give you the option to maybe just like EMP the roof or chuck one in and then get a move going. A bit tougher to deal with some of that utility. The Echo as well gone. No surprise on the Mirror either. So the ban's pretty regular aside from that Buck. I mean, you said he's troublesome. I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say he's trouble much. That's exactly why he's gone, because he can be a right menace. Especially, it encourages, if you do bring the Buck, it means that you are going to go underneath. You're going to make sure you get some of those angles, especially onto sites like Hookah. And a lot of time, teams won't want you to do that. So if you ban them out, maybe they won't even go underneath. Maybe there's that kind of little psychological game going on here.
Well, just in the break, I actually managed to take a look over at the G2 Na'Vi game playing out on this very same map, and that one was a bit of a shocker. Na'Vi have been on a heater this season, and G2 were kind of putting them to the test. I think last time I checked it, it was like 4-2, 5-2 advantage G2, so we'll have to check out the result of that afterwards. One player you got to watch out for here in this lobby will be Textralo. A lot of my EU cast, the few that I have had, Textralo has been the player that has consistently wowed me, always able to come out of a clutch that you wouldn't expect. And what is that going on in chat? Maybe somebody's got a skin they shouldn't be wearing?
Maybe. It's this Jaeger. What's he got on? What's that?
5 seconds left before
He's got
insertion.
this nip.
Attackers
Yeah,
objective
I
is
think
to
we're
defuse
okay.
a bomb.
I'm just confused mostly about Team Manic's lineup because they're not the lineup I was expecting to see. 2 switches from the last playday. They've switched in Sparkins and Boot for Panda and... No, Instinct's still here. Somebody else is missing. And it's a bit of a switch around in roster from Manic, which maybe might explain that change in ban from Cavatel potentially. But they still got the core in play. Textrolo, as you say, a key impact player. He's coming into close contact with Cat Solar here. If I'm not, I might be mistaken. I'm not sure who that is. Who is that? That's Nomo.
Lingering in the distance here to play for Sunrise. Drone is there. Sure to be annoying for Namo, but it won't be the largest issue. You don't have any dual threat pressure coming in from Towel, so Armazi is just going to wait here until eventually he'll feel the pressure. We've got both Katsola and now Karyudo coming in from kitchen side as Rastin isolates Namo and picks him off through the pink bar window. A big pick to take down early as you don't have that roaming problem of the Mozzie any longer. However, another problem, if you're going to go for Aqua Pressure, you've got one playing behind the bar. That was almost a kill for the Gridlock there. Just shotgunning up below, but lucky that Boot kind of was able to get out of the way quick enough, and Killiator didn't try to double down and immediately check for the angle.
Yeah, a bit of bouncing here for Killiator, trying to make his presence in that area confusing. They're not sure if he's on rappel or where he is, and he gets a kill for it. Takes out the Valkyrie previously, almost missing on those vertical angles. Definitely missing now from the Manic lineup. They're missing 2. They're missing 3 as Textrolo falls. No impact kills for him. Karyudo gets another. And it's a strong position for Footprint at the start of this game. It strengthens by the second. Rastin picks up one with an explosive kill. An explosive comeback from Instinct. We'll see a bit of victory. He's taken down 1, and it's importantly, it's the player with the diffuser he's taken down in the middle of the site. 3 standing to deny. But no, he's just denied himself. Killiator steps up yet again with the saw, sawing their chances in half and then ripping them up, maybe even like throwing them in the bin. Just get rid of those chances. They're gone. Footprint win. More things.
They come away with the first coastline. Just having some fun here.
I'm having too much fun.
Gridlock is kind of an unusual one for Coastline. I feel like I don't see a lot of Gridlock lately.
Yeah.
There has been a big increase in Nomad bans, which you would feel like that's going to make like Gridlock appear more, but nobody really likes to play Gridlock. I don't know what Killiator is on over there to be playing.
Gives different options. It does mean that, for example, a cool vibe. Yeah.
You're a Clash main, so I feel like you kind of You give and take a
Saying
little bit more.
My opinion is invalidated. Are you doing this to
Attackers
me?
need to locate and defuse
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say yes. Good point by Kizzo. Kizzo said it, so now I can say it, and it's fine. A lot of teams will practice maybe just with the gridlock occasionally because they anticipate that ban from the Nomad, and maybe they're just more comfortable with it, and that's kind of what they vibe with. But at the same time, you know, you think of cool vibes, for example, there can be some angles you can jab, but there's a lot of positions where you can just come around and shoot that jab out. You can't take out tracks without being incredibly noisy and it taking quite a while. It's got to take a lot longer. It's a bit more of an ordeal, and if it's close to action as well, it can really make a bit of a fuss. So that's my defense of the gridlock pick. And Killiator really validating that pick as well with those 2 kills in the last round.
This impact was fairly felt by Team Manic. An extension to play for upstairs. Goyo shields aplenty, not looking to give Footprint any easy grasp on that vertical. Surely Footprint are prepared for this, though. They've got the buck ban. That was their... I mean, what?
Our observer's got an advantage on us in terms of we heard him
was so
laughing
confused
before
by
it even
that.
happened. I'm like, what's happening? It's a very simple kill onto the pulse. The amount of intel and maybe even some kills coming out with the C4, all that potential wiped off the board straight away. Instinct, a man you probably want relegated to cams, but certainly not this early.
You can listen to your pulse early. That is a kick in the face. To lose out on the cardiac sensor, you're down to nitro. Lucky for Team Medic, they got 3 more still left in reserve. And Boot looks like he's got a bit of a feeling to swing for the 90 corner, but on the opposite end, Zofia prone at the end of the hallway in the midst of checking her cameras, I believe. Bit of a fallback. Team Manic recognize that the pressure is coming through hot and heavy for Footprint. They're going to try to capitalize on this. Now they've got coverage. Gridlock is moving in as well, but quite noisy as she'll do so. The track stingers go out, and I think this will be Team Manic, the last of their hold, completely over with now on the second floor, and a fairly decent bit of time waste here as well, as we've got 90 seconds winding down, and Footprint still just beginning to play for that vertical game.
Oh, good effort, I believe, with the C4 from Sparkins. No contact made. Good positions being held by Team Manic despite their man disadvantage. Could see them victory coming into this execute. They can manage to hold themselves in, but Footprint, again, all they need to do really is just keep on top of these trades. The pre-placed C4 there from Boot, he's waiting for the call. No pulse to do it, no real direct intel to do it. It's going to have to be sound, going to have to be game awareness in general from this point. 50 seconds left now for Footprint to move.
Dextralo, double back. He's still kind of trying to hide away on that roam, and be the problem that Footprint are always aware of. The way that Footprint are approaching this is a little bit less assertive than I would like, but 30 seconds, anything can happen in that time frame. This Boot will take a massive portion of damage. I believe that was from the vertical play going up. Barricade brought down. One thing Footprint lack here is any sort of pressure coming in from the kitchen window to lock away the rotate. One close on the opposite end of the wall, but no denial is here. The Nitro, what? Sparkins wins that? How do you make that happen? He didn't even really need to go prone there. Either way, Team Manic come away with as many kills as you could need. The Diffuser, it's in uncertain territory, and Rastin and Killiator having no luck to recover it. Team Manic will win out on time.
How did they win that round? It was all in the hands of the attackers, and the Mute just weasels his way through the hole, takes one round the corner. Very, very strange. I guess they, expecting, or they're used to one of the walls being reinforced, and maybe that can give them some cover or something, but I don't know what you can do to really excuse that from Footprint. Very uncharacteristically lax there, and they didn't even shut him down in return. He just walks away with his life, and there we go. 2 men left at the end, but it's not enough for Makers. 1-1 is the score. That's the sort of thing that Manic can do. They can dig into this chaos line and really win out some of these rounds that maybe shouldn't. Won't be having that kind of late Lion's Creed factor, but they'll actually win it.
feel like Footprint kind of approached that in a bit of a lackadaisical way. They needed a lot more pressure coming in from the window. Humanix sort of just flooded through back from kitchen. Their roam returned and was not stopped by any sense. And so Footprint kind of collapsed in that moment. It was a very last-minute execute to push in, coming through from service. And the plan sort of fell to shambles there. We're heading back to Hookah. That's where this all kicked off. Footprint looked very good in that first round on this site. They closed down on the roam. Team Meta couldn't do anything on the map, and eventually Footprint just said it's all over and done with. The Maestro got a couple kills and was able to stop the execute for the meanwhile in like the last 30 or so seconds, but it wasn't enough to put Team Manic in an advantage position, maybe playing more of that time denial style of Siege. Could see them with some benefit here.
Yeah, Footprint, I've really got to focus on Noodle as one particular player at the moment because he's really impressed me this season. Formerly of Lions Breed, I believe formerly of XMNs for a little while as well, if I remember correctly. He's been a swap this season directly for Apex, who was a key player for Footprint last time out, and he's been a great pickup. I mean, I'm not just saying this because he played Clash last play day. He's just been really good. I mean, we've seen him pull out lots of interesting strategies, and he's been very efficient with them. He seems to have fit into this team really, really well, which is impressive. Boot here. He goes for a boot himself, but he just misses it completely with the MP5. A very missed opportunity there, and Killiator now fully aware of the Melusi's position. She could be potentially trapped here because I believe the hatch is closed.
Bit of a missed opportunity. Boop just looking for the swing still. He is eager to try and fight against this gridlock. No one coming in from the luggage side, so effectively the Melusi can continue to sit here for almost as long as she wants. And okay, Noodle comes out of nowhere. That player you just highlighted shuts down Textralo, one of the big names on Team Manic, taken away for the Jaeger's guitar side roam. Gridlock will still lurk around here, essentially providing security, making sure that nobody comes through from luggage and tries to unseat Footprint. Got to play for the open wall as Sparkins is going to test it. The SMG-11 is not really the weapon that you're going to want at such an extended range. Karyuda will now clear out the Aqua side as he's putting a lot of pressure onto the Billiard site. No members exposed just yet. A few bits of chip damage across the board. Advantage is pretty big here for Footprint as the pressure is mounting. They've got another member still waiting up on the rooftop as the plant is going down. This is going to be a rough one for Team Manic to pull back. They'll try to cross the angle, but shut down. Sparkins killed before he can even hope to deny that, and Raston for the final one. Footprint with an excellent attack again. 2 wins consecutively. Really unstoppable here on Hookah.
Another double kill for Killiator with the saw repelled on the window outside Aqua. As always, it's the same Hookah execute we saw the first time around, and almost, actually, definitely more efficient this time around. And it was fantastic last time, not to say the very least. So fantastic from Footprint. They seem to have this absolutely pinned down. What can they do elsewhere, though? We've seen them be somewhat underwhelming on that kitchen attack. And now we return to the first floor, this time Blue Bar and Sunrise, where Manic will try and take their second round to keep themselves in it here. There's no real... I mean, this is probably one of the more attacker-favored maps in general. But it's tough to draw lines, especially in ECS. Sometimes it can just be crazy back and forth, and you can never really figure out if it's attacker or defender-sided. So you're pretty much just going for an average split if you want to keep contesting. I think Manic... they'll definitely be hoping to try and get as close to overtime as possible today, I'm thinking. Well, that does bring up actually an interesting point. Where am I? Just wanted to see. A Footprint win here means that they move to first, and that means actually, interestingly enough, they'll be the only team, if they do win here in regulation, in majors or contenders, to have won both games, played a 1 and 2. That shows how incredibly tight this season has been so far already. Nobody's managed a consistent, consecutive win. The only team we've seen do it is Cyberground, and that was in overtime, their first time around. You were there against Jaegers. They've not managed it fully in regulation either, so Footprint will be really, pardon the pun, stamping their authority on this league.
Noodle is looking for another impressive play as go repelled on an angle we rarely ever see. I don't think I've seen a kill happen from the Solarium hallway windows there. Won't be used for much longer. Noodle's not really keen to sit there for the entire duration of the round. Here's that vertical play that we talked about for the pressure onto Sunrise Bar. Oh, Namo! He manages to find Rastin. That's a big pick. Rastin has not missed very often with those nitros, or rather the frag grenades that he has had for the sledge player. Namo will miss his nitro, however, as he tries to lob it up. Finds no success. Team Manic will hold on to a thin man advantage. Namo definitely exemplifying that thin portion, a hair of HP for him to work with, but the MP5 is a gun that can really work in a lot of different scenarios, and Namo certainly could be that utility to try and clamp down here. Another slow round towards the mid phase where Footprint are searching. It's the same as they did on Kitchen to try to find something that can benefit them. Pressure onto the objective, bit of a rotation. Killiator trying to make maybe a play to come in from Towels. The onside hold, Sparkins is always going to be a problem. Those smoke canisters could stop the plant in an instant.
Yeah, Team Manic have a distinct advantage at this point. Almost the last minute of play now. A lot of the time gone for them. A man disadvantage. They just got to evaluate what they're lining up against and how they can deal with it. Well, they found Sparkins, they've located him, and they've taken him down swiftly. And they're moving on in straight away. Killiator's here, and he's got a kill, as well as the diffuser, so he can start sticking that down. He has the coverage as Text Rolo falls to the ground. There's only 2 players standing now. It's the Arunia Boot and Nomo, who is still, reminder, on very, very low health. He's got no health now. Boot is the final man standing. He's got too many angles to deal with, and he is dealt with thoroughly by his opposition. Footprint seal another round. Fantastic play from those. I was gonna say from those boys. I don't know how old they are. From those men. They've earned it. They're men.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they got 3 rounds on Coastline. That certainly means something.
Yeah.
I like the way that they coordinated there with the util burn. They sent both the Ash rounds in. At first, I was going to be like, oh no, you've lost that util to try and clear the deployable shield, but Footprint had another thing coming. They toss a frag grenade on top of that. Not only a clear Sparkins, it removes the smoke canisters, it gets rid of the shield, and then it's just like disaster in the eyes of Team Manic from that point of view. Footprint forced control of the objective. Noodle for the Blackbeard pick, though.
Yep. This is what I was saying. Team Manic, they often do, a lot of these guys, at least when they've played together in the past, do bland Blackbeard, I guess. That's a tricky one. Say that 5 times fast. Ban Blackbeard, ban Blackbeard, that's tough. I'm really bad at tongue twisters. I was making a point, but there's no point anymore. So there you go. I know, I'm so professional.
I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. Back to Kitchen. Same strategy here for Manic, so this gives Footprint a bit of an opportunity kind of to look back on their mistakes they made in round number 2. The only loss that they've suffered so far, and try to figure out how they can fix it. I think the time management just needs to be a little bit better. The way that they cleared out the roam was fine, but it was sort of that transition coming off of the setup and the map control phase, and then kind of going for the execute was when the issues really started to arise. They were not able to execute very comfortably. Manic kind of had some shenanigans going on in that round as well with the play.
Oh,
not again!
They're not shy of shenanigans here, Stickula. Cariudo's taking out Sparkins. A lovely quick kill across from poolside. Just running away. He's put the jammer down. He's running across the site. He thinks he's safe. He's certainly not. That's a man down straight away.
That's twice now, because earlier we had the kill that Noodle got just sort of firing off. Really sent our observer into a flurry when that had gone down. That's a troublesome one. Losing out on the nitro, and Sparkins doesn't even have a shot to fight back. Breaching round detonates. This is an aggressive play by Cariudo. He's looking to get right into the action. It's Noodle who'll pick away at Textralo. The Jaeger, the big star player that I had pointed out, having little to no impact so far this game. Even Namo currently out-fragging him. Textralo needs to start to step up. Otherwise, we're looking at a huge first half here for Footprint. Namo, so tentative as he plays close at the stairs. He's going to try to bail off, but the Banshee, him... only the real thing keeping him alive there. Otherwise, it was Footprint to give chase. Boot, though. What? Nitro time. He'll blow up, too. Suddenly, Team Manic have got at least one thing gone right in this round after such a bad start.
It was a very bad start, but they pulled it back again. I mean, Footprint, they were in a pretty decent position here last time and then threw it away with a very bizarre execute. They've got to really throw something away here, and they're definitely not. They've learned from their mistakes. Cariodo picks up another, I believe, a triple for the round from the strong fragging man. We've seen him in the past be an absolute menace on that Ash, and it seems no exception here. They pick up another round. Team Manic already starting to teeter towards a bad position. They're finding themselves in the same shoes as Lions Creed did last time. Oh, I should have saved like a shoe in the shoes joke for Footprint. I could have been like, Footprint are in Jaeger's shoes in this position because they're 4-1 up. Damn it. I missed an opportunity to be funny. I'll save that for Playdate 8 and no one will realise.
Okay.
I'm just going to write that down.
Well, you mentioned the similarities between this and Lions Creed and the Jaeger's game earlier. And the point we made there was kind of have to get a couple more rounds in this first half. Letting Footprint go 5-1 is it's not appropriate. That cannot happen. Because Footprint are going to close this out on the defense. I can guarantee you, if we see this go 5-1, that's just too close. It's much too close here, Ebac, to have that go down. The momentum already feeling good. Team Manic have been forced out of their usual play style. Textralo is having a terrible game, which is an incredibly rare thing to say.
Yeah, not making his usual impact right now. They're certainly struggling. Potentially the change in lineup across play days could be a mini issue within that. You still got to be strong with whoever is on your roster. Noodle here bringing out the Amaru most interestingly. Going for those kind of fifth man picks often throughout this game. Throughout virtually any game, to be fair. I imagine if they do get to the defenses and they have a couple, we might be seeing a clash coming out. It does seem like the sort of thing Noodle might be lining up. And right now, he's lining up for this surprise entry across. But he's going to walk straight into the line of Instinct. And here he comes. He's prepping it. You know he's going. And here's Instinct. Can he deal with the Maestro? He can! He gets a lovely headshot. His teammate picks up one in the meantime. And it's a lovely advantage. An advantage capitalized upon. Even further, 2 more kills for Footprint. And suddenly, it's all down to Dextrolo. He's stuck in Aqua. They have no idea where he is. They find out where he is and deal with him very quickly. Catsola. Oh, what a fantastic round. A flawless round from Footprint.
Footprint just dispatching Team Manic there. There's the 5-1 half. Finish it as quick as you can. As we're heading into this second split of Coastline, and Footprint don't even bother looking back on that one. The Amaru flies right in, throws caution to the wind, and Team Manic couldn't put anything in her way. The communication there for Instinct clearly lacking, and unfortunately Namo had seemingly no idea as he came up the Cool Vibe stairs. It was all done for. And Footprint, they are wasting no time here. We'll have to go into the second half to see what lies still. Footprint on the defense, and Team Manic needing a major comeback.
Well, no surprising 6 pick from Noodle. Unfortunately, he's gone from the castle to the Melusi, potentially forcing them to bring a bit more soft breach than they might like, but they've got a lot of options. Team Manic going for the standard lineup. Footprint do have quite a few sneaky operators who they might be able to utilize, especially the likes of Cariudo and Katsola. I will say that I believe it was Kiliator and Cariudo last time against Bulldog on Consulate, the roaming duo, and Bulldog couldn't even get towards the main man of the team. Very, very few times in that game. It was an absolute stomp of almost perfection from those two men. And right now, they're still in a really strong position. I mean, you look at the kills across the team. There is very little often asked of Rastin and Katsola. Despite the fact that they are very capable players, they're not even that necessary at the moment. And we could be headed towards another 7-1. They got a 7-1 last week. A double 7-1 to start off their major division chances. I mean, he's looking at nothing, so I don't know why we're all gasping. But there you go. Kiliator's not going to find anything for that peak, as they've not spawned there. They will be instead attacking across the other side of the map.
If we were to take the 7-1, that would be a difficult spot to get them off of for the regular season. Only having 2 rounds lost across 2 matches played is, that's just, we just haven't seen that this season. No
Nope.
team has been as dominant as Footprint, and you know maybe that's their strength of schedule. Or Monsieur Namo is a little bit hesitant. Oh, okay. I thought Karyudo was going to be able to make it out of there alive, but the down and the shots right through the top of the banister, as Nama will get a well-needed kill. Team Manic need every advantage possible at this point. Namo getting the pick there will certainly help the team, but it seems as though Team Manic have kind of been sort of shopping at Olive Garden, Sparkins, Instinct, and Textralo all on breadsticks.
What's an Olive Garden?
You don't have that across the
You're
pond?
in EU now. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm a moron.
It's an Italian restaurant.
Fair. I don't know. I don't like Italian food that much. Gotta say, never been a fan. I'm more a fan of tasty kills, and there's another one for Booped. He picks up a second. Delicious.
Oh, but the trade is there because Gatsola just
Oh, he spilled it
What
all
a
over the floor.
what a stinker of a
He's
nitro.
dropped it everywhere. That's gonna be a mess to clean up.
Good luck. Manic have suffered. Losing Booped is not what you like to see here after such an impressive start. Got one player hiding away, and Noodle continuing to peek the wall. As also seems like there's one player for the drone hole. I guess. Okay, Team Manic are just gonna sort of brute force their way through.
No!
Oh, Katsola! Oh, Manic. No, not like this. Sparkins is down. They're just going in. They're just going in, E-Back. Who cares? Flood the site. The Nitro is sent in response, and it's a big connection. As Instinct is down, Namo, the only one left here, and Sparkins not anywhere close. Noodle hits him with the move. The pistol headshot.
Oh, we were talking about the comparisons with Lion's Creed, and it feels like we're in AVG again because Manic have just thrown it away from a strong position, a 4 versus 2, and then just nothing a few seconds later, losing one too many fights, not covering the plant properly, the C4 easily tossed over. That smoke canister, it doesn't really give you that much. It almost might give a defender a bit of cover in that position. Very unfortunate for the attack of Team Manic. It's match point now. Footprint is in a strong position. He says, I love E-Back. We saw him last time to seal the win, bring out that... Actually, I think it was to get to the 6-1 last time. Regardless, here it is. Noodle. Whew. Bringing out the clash. I mean, he's going 9-2-3, so he can't go too wrong. And, oh, yes, and I didn't even notice. They've 6-picked to the Cav on top of that. They've got a Frost as well. What a lineup. This is my favorite ladies.
By attackers.
One thing you might have not realized, given that this game has just been kind of weird play after weird play, this is Footprint's 5th win in a row across the total rounds play. They have really not let off the gas pedal. The last time Team Manic were able to secure anything, it was that sort of weird kitchen defense where there's a player prone and through the hole in the wall, and it was sort of just kind of a bad play by Footprint and try to force the execute when it was not totally prepared for. Go see what this is going to look like. The Clash Caviera play. I don't think I've ever seen either of those two operators in play at the same time. Clash
No, they're great. They're great in coordination because you can get a down and then Clash can stand in front whilst you interrogate. Perfect duo. It's fantastic. The Clash is obvious. The Cav isn't obvious.
Is Killiator running out of towels? Is he? I think he is. I think he's running out of towels. Just kind of got the door wide open, pistol in hand, revolver at the ready.
Seems like he might stay a bit wet for a while there. He's got a sun drop.
Yeah, he's giving it the all college try, as we say. Killiator for the run out. Pistol. Oh, one shot. So close. Killiator, but in the meanwhile, Karyudo threads the needle, and it's aggressive play after aggressive play. Oh, Killiator. He's almost been able to make this one happen. Oh, boom! Killiator. Oh, he'll just get it. Booped could not do anything to stop that from happening. As Footprint, this looks like a full send blowout for the 7-1, but Sparkins might be able to make this one happen. Karyudo, unlucky for him. Your favorite operator taken out and the Jaeger now gone as well here.
It's very unfortunate for Footprint. They were looking in a strong position. They do bring it back, though. Still the advantage in their hands, thanks to Cat Solar. He's given that cav operator away. They're going to recognize the M12, the bottom of their screen. Killiator's still going for that pistol. Deary me. Low health across the board, though, is a huge disadvantage for Team Manic. Only Killiator with a good amount of health on either lineup. 1 minute 20 left. Tough position for Manic, but it's still rescuable, especially with Killiator running out. If they can just deal with him, they're in a much different situation with 1 minute left.
Raston has lost his shield and his life. There's Textralo starting to come into form. Katsola playing. Foot is spotted. The shots will connect. Textralo put to rest. Luizon outed into the fight as Katsola will play keep away. Trying to battle it back as Killiator steps up to bat. Instinct trying to force this one away, but it's the pistol that'll send us through. Footprint Gaming make it look like child's play here on Coastline. A 7-1 win.
Oh, there's so many things to say, but first off, I'm going to start with you bring Clash, you win, continuing a 100% record so far in ECS. 6 plays, 6 wins across 3 different maps. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. She's a great operator. Didn't have that much influence on the round in particular, gotta say. Last time I gave Noodle a 7 out of 10, a Clash rating on my Clash review, so pretty decent. Not quite the level of Instinct when he brought out the Clash, but on the day, Instinct certainly not as strong throughout performance in general, not just on the Clash. And it was a pretty tough day to be Team Manic. A 7-1 stomp again, which means their round differential is plus 12, which is pretty unbelievable, as well as the fact that they are the first team to win 2 consecutive games, moving them to 6 points, top of the table. What a great place to be if you're a Footprint fan.
Yeah, I mean, just completely stomping their way through. We're going to go take a look back at Coastline. It was a short game. We don't have very many replays, but there was some fun moments. I'm sure we'll see the revolver clip hopefully get in there, just popping heads. No mercy. Unfortunately today for Team Manic, Footprint, you said it, top of the table, as they will be hard to dethrone. There it is. Oh, what a shot. Whack-a-mole. Killiator just giving it to him. I came awfully close for Team Manic in that final round, but Textralo did not play like we expect him to, and Footprint just looked like a god-tier team right now.
Ooh. Right, at least I've got some Clash play to analyze this week in Major Division. Very exciting. What are you stroking there? Is that your cat?
It's my cat.
Oh, he's cute.
Thank you. I was sort of hoping for that to go a little bit longer. Unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, Footprint Gaming are just monsters so far this season. I wonder what they'll look like next week if this is going to be 3 wins in a row. Footprint look like they're off to a hot start, and it's going to be difficult to get ahead of them and try to slow them down. With that being said, that is all from us here tonight on the second play day. We've had a lot of fun in 2 matches, 1 fairly close, but still a lot of hijinks, a lot of fun moments. We hope to see you here once again. Make sure to tune in for all of the fun action ECS. Follow us on Twitter so that you can keep up to date. I've been Sticula, my partner here, Ebac. Fun first cast. We hope to see you for another set of broadcasts coming up next week.